It is the hottest real estate market in the history of the universe. How can I possibly find a good deal? Hi there, my name is Mindy Jensen, and I'm the host of the Bigger Pockets Money podcast. To get all the information you need to be successful in your personal finances, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. We all know that this is the hottest real estate market ever, period. In no other time in the history of the world has it ever been hotter. Has it ever been harder to find a real estate deal that's worth buying? We also know that mortgage rates are about to start going up, and both homeowners and investors want to buy a house before the rates climb any higher. The economic law of supply and demand states that when demand is high, prices will rise. Well, demand isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and supply isn't going to change either. So the question buzzing around in our heads is, what are buyers supposed to do? What if you started thinking about purchasing leftovers? For background, I'm an agent in Colorado, and in my neck of the woods, much like the rest of the United States, properties are listed on Wednesday or Thursday. Showings are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with offers due Sunday night or Monday morning, and the property is under contract Monday night or Tuesday morning. The MLS is a ghost town on Tuesday afternoon, with tumbleweeds blowing across the screen, waiting until Thursday for the whole circus to start all over again. But not always. On some days, there are still properties left over. Granted, most of these properties are kind of gross. Maybe they're still on the market for a reason, like they are on busy streets, or they back up to that really busy train track. Or maybe there's an actual problem with the house if the location isn't a problem. Maybe there's an easily identifiable problem with the house. For example, there is an absolutely gorgeous, stunningly gorgeous house on the market in my city. The property price is laughably low. I thought the agent fat-fingered a 5 instead of an 8. It turns out they didn't fat finger the number. When you enter the home, there are cracks everywhere. There are horizontal cracks. Those are the bad kind. And I'm not talking about these type of leftover properties. Let's look at another property. About 15 minutes north of my town, there's a listing that's been on the market for 44 days. It's beautiful on the inside. It used to be beautiful. It has 10-foot ceilings in nearly every room, including a 20-foot ceiling in the entryway right when you walk in, with a sweeping circular staircase, a huge kitchen, plenty of storage everywhere, closets all over the place. But it's a 20-year-old house. The carpet is 20 years old. Some of the floors are damaged. They did not waste any time cleaning this house before they put it on the market. There's dust everywhere. It's kind of squidgy. There's some, broken things. Even with all of this potential, the house sits for 44 days. Even in this market, it sits for 44 days. The property was patiently waiting for the right buyer. The right buyer won't need to fight in a bidding war to get this house. Nobody else is looking at it. You see, in this market, 44 days is a kiss of death. 44 days on market means clearly there's something wrong with the house. Not necessarily the case. How do we find these leftover properties? Listing agents are human, and humans make mistakes. And I've seen some real doozies, including a house in my neighborhood that was listed with 0 bathrooms. Legally, a house must have a bathroom, so this house was just a mistake. This house actually had 2, and once I clicked through the pictures and made sure that it wouldn't work for any of my clients, I actually reached out to the listing agent and called him up, and I said, "You've got a problem on your listing." He said, "Holy cow, thank you so much for letting me know." While this doesn't sound like a big deal, making a tiny mistake on a bathroom, you wouldn't see this listing if your agent had set you up to receive listings that had a minimum of 1 or 2 bathrooms. Mistakes like this means there's smaller numbers of buyers that are viewing that listing. The fewer number of buyers viewing a listing, the fewer number of buyers going through the property. So this is what you should be looking for: the unseen properties that have listing errors. But listing mistakes aren't limited to entry errors. Some listings feature photos from a completely different house. That means there's a lot of unsuspecting buyers walking into homes confused and walking out without making an offer. Or multifamily properties listed as single-family properties, or houses listed as condos. When your agent is setting you up to receive listings from the MLS, they set up parameters so you don't get swamped with properties you don't want. If you're looking for a condo, you probably aren't also interested in farmland, so they sort those out so you don't get inundated with properties. If you're not buying vacant land, you're not going to see those listings pop up. Real estate agents can only send listings that are categorized correctly. And when an agent makes a mistake, it can have huge repercussions. And just as a side note, make sure your real estate agent hasn't made a mistake if you're selling a property. Make sure they haven't fat-fingered the price. So instead of you selling your $500,000 property, it's listed at $800,000. Nobody will come see it because it doesn't compare with the $800,000 properties. Or vice versa, make sure that you aren't listed too low and you're not catching into the properties that are being shown at the $800,000 price. When your agent is done entering the information, have them send you the listing and double check all the numbers. Really make sure that all the information is correct. Your agent is human. Your agent may make a mistake. You just want to make sure that all the information is correct. Your agent can correct the mistakes as long as they know that they're there. Now let's get back to your search. If your agent enters fewer parameters into the MLS when they're setting you up for a search, you'll receive more listings, which can be daunting in a more robust market. But again, we're in the historic shortage that we are now, so this isn't going to be such a big problem. The more listings you get, the more potential mistakes you might be able to find, and the more potential opportunities you'll discover. Now, is this groundbreaking advice? No, I know that. But in this market, getting into a bidding war and fighting over the limited supply with other buyers is exhausting. Take that out of the equation by looking at houses that they're not looking at. Also in this market, right now, you're probably waiving inspection and appraisal. Or you're losing offers to people who are waiving inspection and appraisal. This is another fun aspect of this market, and it's actually not that fun at all. Right now, in order to be competitive, you have to give away all of your contingencies. The reason you have to do this is because competing offers are doing this as well. If your offer doesn't include this, you'll just go to the bottom of the pile. When your offer is the pile, you don't have to offer those seller-friendly clauses, meaning you can have that home inspection. And if something pops up, you can choose to request a repair, a concession, or accept it as is. Remember, any request is just that, a request. The seller doesn't have to give you anything, but if you waive the inspection in order to get your offer accepted, you can't even make the request. Appraisal gap coverage is another sticky clause that's being added to offers right now. And what this means is you will pay the amount you offered, regardless of what it appraises at. If the appraisal comes in low, you're bringing extra money to the closing table to cover the gap between what you offered and what it appraised at. And while you don't have to fully cover the gap, you can offer to cover a certain amount of the gap or a specific dollar amount instead of the full amount. There are other buyers who may be covering the full amount. Your offer goes to the bottom of the pile when somebody else is offering more. Skip the bidding wars. Skip the lines at the open house. Take time at the property when you can really inspect it and be able to get a home inspection by a qualified inspector by looking at the leftovers. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please click the like button and subscribe to this channel so you're the first to know about all the new videos that we're putting out. Make sure you let us know what you thought in the comments so that we can keep making content that's relevant for you. This is Mindy Jensen signing off.